It's 8:30 prep. I'm Phil McCaffrey. Welcome to 3R prep. I have a great evening for you tonight. I'm so excited. I'm almost manic. Well, I'm manic anyways because I'm a little bit crazy. On with me tonight is two awesome professional friends and close friends that have worked with me and send me awesome students. And so I asked their help to give me a program on what not to write. And so they sent it to me, and I've had the greatest time reading this. Let me introduce to you. Can you show the? Can we show the screen? Let me introduce to you, and then I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves. Let's start with Mrs. Nicole Levis from Avonworth School District. Nicole, I'll say this, has been in college counseling for over 20, or high school or school counseling, right? Nicole, school counseling. School counseling for over 20 years. She went to the same high school I did, Bishop Canavan. They didn't call it Bishop when you were there, did they?
No, it was just
It
Canavan.
was just Canavan. And you were an admissions officer at the University of Pittsburgh.
Correct.
Was that your first job out of college?
No, I worked at Bethany College for 9 months in the admissions office. And then I was driving back and forth to Bethany every day from Pittsburgh. And then the job at Pitt opened up. And I was at Pitt for 4.5 years. And that's where I got my school counseling degree.
That's
And
awesome.
then I landed it I landed at Avonworth when I graduated grad school
And you've been there ever since. All right, and our second guest
ever since.
is Mrs. Jennifer Warden, who is the college admissions. What is your actual title, Jennifer?
Director of College Counseling.
Director of College Counseling at Central Catholic. Everybody know, and I will kid Central Catholic about being the Central Catholic Mafia, the 800-pound gorilla in the diocese. Jennifer is a graduate of Virginia Tech in math, so I'm really excited I got your bio, Jen, because you're nerdier than me. You went to William and Mary, and what did you get your master's at William and Mary?
School Counseling.
Oh,
Master
school
of
counseling.
Education.
So you're a school counselor also. Okay, great. And then you started your career at Carnegie Mellon University, which touches Central Catholic, so you walked across the street. It was just literally, you have the same parking lot, right? You just got a new parking pass. All right, so tonight's topic is about college essays, and I've asked these two because one, what is give me a number, Nicole. How many essays have you read in your career? What would you say?
Oh goodness, probably close to thousands, really. I mean, if I'm counting the 4 years at the University of Pittsburgh, reading them from high school students and then editing them for high school students, thousands.
Thousands. And Jen, how many did you read at Carnegie Mellon while you were there?
Yeah, probably thousands.
So what we have with us tonight is awesome. Is two experienced professionals that have read thousands of essays. So no further ado, I sent them an email, and this is what I got back. What was the number one thing, ladies, to not write about, which was what Dave and I talked about yesterday, was please do not write about COVID-19 and the quarantine. Start. Go. One of you go. This is hilarious. I love that you both put this at the top of the list. So, Nicole, why not COVID-19?
Well, I think it's just going to be one of the most popular topics this year. I mean, we're all going through it, so it's going to be at the top of their mind as far as ideas are concerned. And it's not really going to let the students stand out because they're going to be one of, many essays that counselors will be reading that talked about what they did during quarantine, why I'm not a good virtual learner, which is really a negative essay. I mean, you want to be positive and showcase yourself, not why I can't do something.
Jen, how many do you think you're going to get anyways? How many? What I did during is quarantine like what I did on my summer vacation?
Yeah.
I think so. I think it's going to turn into that. Yeah. Yeah. I think the reason why I would recommend staying away from it is it's a challenge for all of us. And, every day we get through it, we're all overcoming that challenge, but everyone's going through it right now. And you want your essay to be unique and personal to your experiences. And yeah, again, right now, this is, a stressful situation that we're all dealing with. So I would say stay away from it. Think about what else has happened in your life that you could write about.
So this is live on YouTube, and we just got a comment that said, write about COVID because you discovered the quarantine vaccine. So if you...
That would maybe be a reason to write about.
Okay, number two thing not to write about. I love this. You both put sports. All right, go. Why not write about sports? How many essays have you read about sports?
Hundreds.
Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, again, I think it's something that, everyone is involved in athletics. I can't tell you how many essays I've read where, running was a metaphor for life, which sounds like a really unique topic, but everyone has thought about that before. So I think with all of these examples that we'll go through, if you've had a really unique situation or a really unique experience or takeaway, then that's one thing. But just to write about something like running as a metaphor for life, or the day that your team won the championship, those things aren't necessarily unique to you.
The day that your team won the championship. Now, I got to jump in here. Nicole was a jock in high school. She played softball. All right. So, Nicole, did you write about your softball life? What was your essay?
Honestly, I can't remember. That was a long time ago. However, I would tell you that sports is okay to write about. Maybe if you're thinking about how you became a better teammate, or what did you learn from your experience on a team? And you have to make it special and individual, because even that topic can get boring and every day.
Well, I had a hockey player from Quaker Valley, and this was a championship team. He had won the state championship. And the next year, he wasn't the high scorer on the team because so many defensive players attacked him that he learned how to pass the puck and he got the most assists. So he wrote his essay on why they keep statistics on assists. And I thought that was a good essay. It was how I was not the top scorer. I am the best on the team, but I had to pass the puck in order to win the game.
Right.
So
and that's what I'm talking about, right?
So it's something about yourself, right? What we're talking. You guys are killing me because I love this. I can't wait to get to a couple more topics about how good this is on what you're writing about. There's just so many nice things here. But Jen, have you literally seen running as a metaphor for life? I love that topic.
Absolutely.
What is the metaphor for life? What are the cliche things that say? Because we got a couple more cliches coming up.
Yeah, I think a big one is pacing yourself, and some laps getting a really good time, and some laps realizing that I maybe sprained my ankle or stepped on my foot wrong on this lap, so it was slower and I had to overcome that challenge, but still making it to the end and finishing the race. And even though I didn't come in first place, I still finished, and that's what matters. So there's tons of them.
Well, I told this story last night, and I'll have to tell you, my stepson, when I just first started dating his mom, he was a senior in high school, and I sat him down one day and I said, he was applying to liberal arts schools, and I said, "What's your essay?" And he said, "I don't have one." And the year before, he had won the WPIAL championship as a cross-country runner. So I said, "Well, tell me the story of the WPIAL championship." And his answer was, I have only ever won one race in my life. I've only ever won one, and it was the championship. And the reason was because it was raining, and the other people wouldn't run through the mud. So in my family, run through the mud is a big metaphor. So everybody was running over the hill, and he ran under the hill in the mud and got ahead of everybody else. And he's not a strong sprinter, so he was far enough ahead that he didn't have to sprint. And there's a picture of the fastest guy on the Quaker Valley team in the background, who was his best friend, with him crossing the line, literally breaking the line. the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette captured the picture of him breaking the running line. So our big metaphor in life is run through the mud. Okay. All right. I love this one. This is yours, Jen. Jen is point number 1. Nicole is point number 2. Donald Trump has taught me. What's going on with this? I love this one.
So I was trying to think of, very political things to write about. But I think, the key here with controversial topics, you'll hear admission authors say, even if we have a differing opinion than you state in your essay, it's about the content and your arguments and things like that. But my personal opinion is whether we like it or not, we all have some type of innate bias, maybe that we don't even realize. And so anything that touches on politics or, things like religion, things like that, just to stay away from, to kind of play it safe. That way you don't bring in this idea of, what if the person reading it doesn't agree, and things like that. But then also I'll add, things like cursing, talking about, inappropriate behaviors like drugs or alcohol, anything like that.
Wait, back up. Have you read an essay that included drugs and alcohol?
Yeah, I have, surprisingly. Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So probably not the best things to write about.
So is this somebody you have to tell? This is what I want. I want bad stories. This is why I wanted the two of you on. Is this somebody who applied to CMU, wrote about drinking?
It is, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. You made my day. You guys, I'm so happy. This is like the best email ever. So they wrote about drinking. What did they write about? I love to drink beer.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was more along the lines of how they, rescued a friend at a party, and so how they, helped them and made sure that they were okay.
Oh, that's good. That's a helper essay.
Yes.
I'm Mr. Rogers. My friends are stoners. Look for the helpers. The Mr. Rogers quote. Always look for the helpers. Nicole, have you ever had a student turn in an essay on drugs or alcohol?
No, not that I can remember.
Yeah, this is crazy. I've never even heard that, Jen. All right, Nicole, you say politics and or religion. Polarizing. I think that's a good word. We're going to use that with students. What do you mean by polar?
Well, it can really put you could back yourself into a corner. And like Jen said, people always say, we're going to try to read this without bias, but you may rub them the wrong way, and human nature, right? People feel things when they're reading, and you may back yourself into a corner and not even realize what you're doing. Save your political action and your political campaigns for when you're on campus, and you can get involved in various organizations that share the same values and points. Religious values, religious, political opinions as you do, So save that kind of stuff for when you're on campus, and maybe a little bit older to understand exactly, what you're talking about.
Well, I had a girl last year who brought me an essay, and her family didn't go to church. And so she started going to the local church, and Nicole, what is it called when an adult converts to Catholicism? I forget what that's called.
Oh, it's the RCIA.
RCIA.
The Rite of Christian Initiation.
As an adult,
something
yeah.
like that, right?
Very good.
Right.
Rock on, girlfriend. All right.
Thank you.
Good job. Your nuns will be proud of you. She wrote about, she was a junior in high school, and she went through RCIA, and her mom started going to church with her. And she wrote about how she was in a classroom with adults and how she grew up and became an adult. So I thought that was a good essay. It wasn't about her religion or her religious beliefs, but she herself went through this conversion experience and took the class. So I thought it was a really good essay. And so you can turn your religious experience into a good essay, but it has to be a story about yourself, which, Jen, we're going to get to right in a minute, which was a story about yourself, and that is writing about someone else. Jen, I love this one. Please talk.
Also another overused essay topic about, mom or dad or someone being your hero. You also see this sometimes whenever, you're talking about, it's an essay about death and you're talking about, grandma was this great person, or whatever it is. The essay has to
I
be
love
about
the
you.
dead grandma essay. I love the dead grandma essay. I get one every year. My grandma died when I was in 7th grade and it changed my life.
Yes.
Sorry, folks.
And
everybody's grandma dies.
they seem like very sweet topics and certainly very touching, but I think the challenge here is the essay has to be about you.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to turn a story about, your mom being your hero into a story about mom, which is great, but the admission committee isn't admitting your mom, they're admitting you, and they want to know more about you specifically.
Oh, I wish I had my keyboard right here. Hold on a second. Let's see if this works. If I can write on here. It's got to be about who? It's got to be
You.
about whom, right? About whom? About whom. That's the objective case versus the subjective case. I had a girl come in last year, and she had 850 words, and 50 of them were about herself. There was 800 words about how awesome her mom was, and my answer was really sad and pathetic, and I'm not going to tell you that she actually cried, but she was close to tears because my answer was, everybody loves their mom. If you don't love your mom, you really have the saddest life on the planet. Like, I love Nicole Levis's mom, and I want some Christmas cookies, by the way. I want some of those Jen, on Facebook, I posted, I don't think it was last Christmas, it was the Christmas before. I posted, post your favorite Christmas recipe, because I was going to make some Christmas cookies. And Nicole posts this Christmas recipe, and we're both Italian. So she posts this, and I'm like, oh, these are fantastic. And Nicole's like, yeah, my mom makes them all the time. I was like, you're cheating. You're posting your mom's recipe. I'm like, do you make these? She's like, no, my mom makes them. I was like,
but I have to learn because she's, not going to be able to do it eventually, and I want to eat them. So I have to learn how to make Italian knots and biscotti and Easter pie.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. It was Italian knots. So
yeah.
I grew up with an Italian mother. My Italian grandmother wasn't a good cook, but I had a lot of aunties who were. My Italian grandmother was a terrible cook. That actually would be a good college essay. My Italian grandmother couldn't boil water.
I would appreciate that one.
But my Italian mom could cook because she actually took over for her mother, who was ill. And so my mother learned to cook as a teenager and just cooked all her life, So she made cookies, and it's like, the Pittsburgh Christmas cookie. All right, so
The irony is that I do not like to cook, and my brother is literally a chef. He's a trained chef.
Does he bake?
Turned police officer, but he's a chef, and I hate to cook.
Wait, he's a police officer, but he went. Did he go to Pittsburgh?
He went to CCAC's culinary program actually, and he has an associate's degree in culinary arts, and he worked in restaurants all across the city. And after he was married, he decided he needed some stability and some insurance. And he joined the police force.
That's the tough thing about a lot of restaurant workers is they don't have benefits, and we're seeing that now during COVID-19. Okay, the next topic not to talk about is I love Legos. Jen, start with I love Legos.
Yeah, sure. So especially if you're looking at a STEM major, engineering, computer science, math, something like that. Legos are a big thing if you're into robotics. So it just gets very cliche very quickly. Another one, I read a lot of applications for computer science. And so talking about how much you love computers, which we would imagine if you were studying computer science that you would like computers. But also so many colleges have a required essay outside of the Common App essay that asks about your major of interest. So that's your place to talk about your major and why you like computer science. So let this be a totally different topic. Let them see a different side of you.
All right, Nicole, I want to be a fill in the blank. Why did you put that?
Right, because if you're going to major in nursing, they know that you want to be a nurse, right? If you're going to major in accounting, they know that you want to be an accountant. So hopefully you have an interest in those courses, and you have compassion and you have empathy, or you're good with numbers, or whatever you want to say about your particular major. But you don't need to tell them why you want to be a nurse. Obviously they know that that's the selected major. That's what major the box you click, you checked off. So be a little bit more creative with your essay.
I think the number one essay that I get that I throw away is I want to be a doctor.
But they don't like blood, or they're not really into science. But I want to be a doctor.
Actually, I love the Legos one, Jen. I personally have never seen a Legos essay, but now computer science at Carnegie Mellon with robotics, and CMU is huge into robotics. So everybody who does robotics builds them with Legos. Is this true? Robots are built out of Legos? I'm not a robot guy.
Interest came from.
I'm not.
They like to build things, put things together. Oh, well, then I may as well go into robotics or engineering, or right.
Okay, so I'm gonna wrap that one up with Legos is a metaphor for life.
Athena wants to know the most memorable essays they've gotten.
Okay, we'll do that one. Thanks, Athena. We're gonna do some most memorable. We got another one on here, and that is why my extracurricular activities are important to me. Things that are already on your application. So if it's on the application, you have both been admissions officers. Do you read their applications?
Yes.
Yeah, so if it's on the application, you already saw it.
Right. You're just reiterating what's in a different section of your application.
Well, Nicole, let me ask you this. You were at the University of Pittsburgh, so that actually is surprising to a lot of people, is that admissions at University of Pittsburgh actually reads the applications. And
every single one of them. Yeah.
Whereas I went to Penn State, where I still say Penn State is read by a computer. It's name, rank, and serial number. It's GPA and SAT score. And Pitt actually reads them. There's a huge difference between the two schools. Wouldn't you say? I mean, Penn State's like when I did it was a bubble sheet. It went through a Scantron, and if your grades and your SAT score were high enough, you got on main campus, and that was it.
Right. And back when I was at Pitt, 25 years ago, Pitt didn't receive as many applications as they do now, but it was still a very individualistic, holistic process. We read every single application. This is when it was still paper, right? And we read every application, every essay. We even would put in DVDs. If we got a DVD of a student, we would watch the DVD.
And be careful saying that.
For me, that just helped get a better picture of the whole student, not just this black and white piece of paper with numbers on it. And so I think it really helped me understand the students if it was a well-written, interesting essay. If I couldn't get through the first paragraph and there were maybe three more, it was hard for me to continue reading, for it to hold my interest. But they still do it, and they receive probably 3 times the number of essay applications that they did years ago.
Oh, they get a ton. They get a ton.
Right, and they read every single one.
Well, what was I lost my train of thought. I'll just move on to the next one. So before I forget, I want your most memorable essay. Okay, this was really, really good. Try not to begin with a quote. Don't students do that on papers all the time? Aren't they taught to do that?
All the time.
So why not?
Shakespeare once said, quoting an author that they probably never read, or just found this quote that maybe matched the topic of their essay. And oftentimes when you're writing a paper for school, right, for English or social studies, you're using that quote so it takes up space, right? That's the trick, right?
Two of my students are arguing on Facebook, on YouTube, in the comments about who won the robot competition. So Peyton says, "Get over it, Gavin. We won the competition." So Gavin is saying Peyton cheated. They were on yesterday. So guess what, guys? That's a double or nothing. I bet them the two. I wanted an argument on the comments just to get people to watch. So nothing too personal. So what's going on over here? All right, this is TMI. That's actually what I like. How many times have you had to tell a student, please delete this?
Yeah, I mean, there have been essays that I've read where I've had to say, like, tone it down, that you're giving too much. They don't need to know they don't need to know this information about you. Why are you sharing this? How does this connect to your application? What's the purpose of sharing all this information? Sometimes too much is too much, right?
Right,
Jen,
right.
Have you ever read anything like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Did you hit?
And often, what's that, Phil?
I said, did you hit the button not accepted at CMU when it was TMI? Did you just go, no, you're not coming here? Click no.
Just kind of rubs you the wrong way, and you're thinking like, okay, who really is this person? Yeah.
Right.
What was there a red button on the computer when you worked there? Tell me the truth. Yeah. Well, actually, you probably can't. You probably have a non-compete, non-disclosure.
She was sworn to secrecy when she left CMU, right, Jeff?
No red button, I promise.
There's no red button. You're gone. Oh man, I want to.
They read every single application in its full. Yeah. Yeah,
it's amazing. My daughter went to the University of Pittsburgh, and she worked as a tour guide, a pathfinder, and she said, be careful. People read your essays around here. And I laughed. I was like, are you serious? But my daughter worked in admissions. She's like, no, Dad, at Pitt we read everything. We're not Penn State. We don't, and I still say Penn State doesn't read anything, but I guess they do for Schreier's, because how many essays are there for Schreier's, Nicole? 10 or 11?
Yeah, at least. There's a few.
It's insane. It's like a student came in with their Schreier's essay, and I didn't know it was a Schreier's essay. And the topic of the essay was, what are you going to do to change the world? Have you seen this? That was the topic of one of their prompts on their supplemental. And I literally told the kid, throw this away. You're not going to change the world. And he looked at me and he was like, it's the prompt from Penn State. And I was like,
I have to figure out how I'm going to change the world if I want to get into Schreier's.
Like, Schreier's is not going to change the world. They're just going to be good engineers. Okay, what about this one down here? Could anyone else write the same essay? What does that mean?
I think that means, for me, if you have a product that you could put your friend's name, your neighbor's name, place name here kind of essay, and it's just general, even if someone else could write it for you and get the same results, you probably need to start over, because it's not going to help you stand out, in that pile of applications. So if someone else could write that same essay for you, or the exact same essay about themselves, it's time to start over and find something that's going to set you apart from everybody else.
Set yourself apart. Okay. All right, Jen, this is you. Avoid using sarcasm. How does sarcasm come over on a college essay?
It doesn't. Or at least you can't assume that it's going to.
No.
And so I think, just like with texting, if you're texting your friends and you're using sarcasm,
wait, that's next.
You're not going to get it. Just stay away from it.
Wait, you were a CMU reader. Did you get essays written in text language?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I actually think that's funny. I would write the whole thing in text language to CMU, knowing full well I would never, ever get admitted. I mean, Come on. It's like, have you seen this, Nicole? Have you seen? Probably just bad spelling.
Yes, no, I have not seen an essay written as a text. That would be absolutely awful.
Okay, how about this one? When we disembarked from the feet
this kills me.
to convey on the table, we were greeted by the most loquacious waiter. I endeavored to elucidate my order, but the fellow was unabating.
Jen, I laughed out loud when I read that earlier.
It was actually really hard to find an example like this because I had to keep looking at the thesaurus. But yeah, I think, the key takeaway is don't just write a basic sentence and then just pop out synonyms from the thesaurus app or something like that. Use words that you would actually speak if you were telling the story to someone in person.
So you were a CMU reader. I tell this to students all the time. You've both read thousands of essays. Can you tell if the kid didn't write it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to, because parents are like, well, help my kid out. I'm like, great, I'll read it. And they're like, no, help my kid out. And I'm like, no, I'll read it, because if it's not written by the kid, you're professionals. You've read thousands of these essays. You can immediately tell if it's professionally written or it's not language that a student doesn't use.
And here's another thing, and this doesn't happen now because everything's electronic. But back when I was at Pitt and at Bethany, applications were paper, right? So parents would complete the paper applications for the students. So we knew when mom or dad completed the paper application because the handwriting, right? So easy to figure that one out too. The only thing that was the students was the signature.
Wait, they had different handwriting on the same application?
Yeah, so the mom or dad would complete the application. It was nice, clear, very, nice printing. And then the student's signature, you could barely read their name, right? And clearly, they were not the same people completing the applications.
Oh, my goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
So these are some do's. Even though today was what not to write, do be concise. If the question is a prompt, answer the prompt. I love this one. Talk about this one, the mission statement of the school. Does Carnegie Mellon have a mission statement, Jen?
Yes.
And what about does it match your values? Would that mean something like why I'm applying to be a tartan?
I think it goes back to, why reading the mission statement, understanding it, and, what do you connect with? What resonates with you? Are they talking about being, a global institution and maybe, you have a passion for studying abroad or things like that? Find pieces of the mission statement that really resonate with you to show your fit for that school.
Excellent. And have it read and spell checked and have someone else read it. David and I always tell parents, have somebody who doesn't know the student read it. What do you think about that one?
I agree with that. And the other thing I tell my students is write your draft, set it aside for a couple of days, come back to it. Because you may think to yourself, what was I doing? What was I thinking? I can't believe I put that sentence together. Or because I've done that with letters of recommendations or things I've written, and I thought, well, where was I drinking too much coffee that day? Like, where did I come up with that?
No, you can just stop it. Was I drinking too much?
Yeah.
What was I doing that day? All right. Do we have one more slide? That was the do's. All right. So, all right. You both are going to take turns on this one. This is how we're going to wrap it up. I want your favorite ever memorable essay, yes, that you loved, and the one you hated the most. Go, Nicole. Start with the one you loved the most. We're going to end with the hate. What did you love the most?
So now keep in mind, this is back in the 90s when David Letterman was still on TV, and he did write the top 10 every night, right? So this applicant, and I want to say he was from New York, but I don't know. I think he was because I traveled Long Island, and he may have been from my territory. But his essay was the top 10 reasons why you should admit me to the University of Pittsburgh. And it was very creative and very well written, and he included comedy. He was funny, but he was also serious in some of the responses. My SAT scores are such, my GPA is such, I've done this, I've done that. But some of them, maybe 3 or 4 of them were very funny. I mean, you can tell this kid had a sense of humor. The good thing is that he had the grades and all the academics to back up his application. Now, is that something that I would recommend for everybody to do, to use humor in their essay? Maybe not go as far as the top 10 list, but I think it's okay to be, to be funny if it can be understood. Like we were saying earlier, sarcasm is missed. You have to be careful that you're not being sarcastic and people understand you're funny, right? Your joke.
I tell students only write something funny if you're actually funny. Like you
don't try to be funny.
Don't try to be funny.
Almost has to happen by accident, but don't say I'm going to put a joke in there somewhere. I need to fit a joke in there. Just it sometimes happens by accident.
All right, Jen. What's your favorite essay?
Yeah, so not one that I've read at Carnegie Mellon or even as a college counselor from one of my students, but the example that I give every year with my juniors when we talk about this is the Costco essay. I know that it's, all over the media and, everywhere, but I think it's just such a good example of taking something, so mundane and so average, like going to Costco with your mom and turning it into, how this is such a big experience for me and, just, a metaphor, if you will, but relating it to so much more. And, we talk about all the time with essays, taking something super ordinary and finding something extraordinary about it. And this, this young woman did that in such a great way. She used her humor, but she was so genuine about it. You could tell, like, she was just being who she was. And yeah, I think it's just a really good example of be who you are and find something,
So viewers should Google the Costco essay.
Yes, Google the Costco essay.
Yeah, it's out there. All right, Nicole, your turn. What was the essay that you hated the most?
I don't know that I have a specific essay, but I can tell you
You're such a counselor. You're such a counselor. There's not one I hated the most. Yes, there is. She's just not going to tell me.
Like off the top. But I can tell you, keep it to one page. If I, again, back in the day, it was all on paper. If I saw an essay had 2 pages or a back side, it better be good for me to flip over to the other side. So, keep it short, keep it concise, get to the point, answer the question, and don't belabor the topic. Get to the point. Keep it short.
Yeah, I actually said that last night with David. Is our high school students are really good at writing a 3-page essay and just filling in a lot of words for their English teacher, and college counselors and college admissions officers hate that. So they're doing it to make their essay, and college admissions people are like, get to the point. Don't belabor the point. All right, Jennifer, and for you, what was your least favorite essay that you've read?
Yeah, that's a good question. We talk about how most admission officers actually do read your essays. I had a student who at Carnegie Mellon, an application I was reading, a good first paragraph, a good last paragraph, but the paragraphs in between were just gibberish and copy and paste over and over and over again, just assuming that we didn't read it. We would just kind of read the beginning to see what it was like, and then it was literally copying and pasting, the same sentence over and over and over again. So,
really?
That's incredible.
Yeah. So he, of course, did not get in. But yeah.
I was actually going to say, now that's a kid that you admit, because the first is good, the last is good, and the middle was just copy and paste the same sentence. Like when you build a website, like the Latin they put on there, the lorem ipsum. Yeah. So actually,
I bet you that's the kid that applied to CMU because his mom and dad told him he was applying to CMU and he didn't really want to go there anyway.
I do have a CMU story, and I won't say that the kid was Asian. So this has nothing to do with ethnicity, but the parents forced this student of mine to apply to Carnegie Mellon. And the student wrote the essay of Why I Don't Want to Go to Carnegie Mellon was the title of the essay that they actually admitted to Carnegie Mellon. And it started off with, there are too many Asians on the campus of Carnegie Mellon, and I'm Asian. And that's literally how the essay started. I thought it was the funniest essay ever. I'm like, these people are totally going to admit you. Because the kid wrote about being Asian and having a tiger mom and having to sit down and write this essay. And then he ended with, and now I'm doing this with my SAT tutor, and I'm Asian, I have to have an SAT tutor. And I sat there and wrote that, and I was like, please don't use my name. Like, don't put my name on this. So, all right, I'm Phil McCaffrey. This is 8:30 Prep. This was Nicole Levis from Avonworth and Jennifer Warner from Central Catholic. You guys did the bomb. I mean, this was my favorite show ever. I thank you so much. I can't wait to see you again when they allow us to do social distancing. I owe you both lunch. Thank you so much. I'll see you all later. Thanks, ladies. We'll talk soon.
You're welcome. Good luck, everybody.
Thanks, Jen. Stay safe out there. All right, wash your hands, kids.